Welcome back to Innova Insights, everyone. We have a pretty interesting development to discuss today about LinkedIn. You know LinkedIn, right?
Of course.
Well, they're launching their first AI recruiter. It's called Hiring Assistant.
It aims to revolutionize recruitment, taking over many of the tasks
Oh, wow.
traditionally done by human recruiters.
Okay, so we've got AI taking on recruiting. Is this the robot uprising we've all been fearing?
Maybe.
Just kidding.
Kinda.
Kinda, but seriously, what exactly can this hiring assistant do? I'm picturing a little robot sifting through resumes, making phone calls.
Well, it's not quite that visual, but the capabilities are impressive. Identify potential candidates based on skills
Wow.
and even schedule interviews.
Wow, that's a lot of automation. No more awkward phone calls with recruiters. Sign me up.
Right.
But what about the human element? Isn't that important in hiring decisions?
LinkedIn says that the goal is to free up recruiters' time so they can focus on the more nuanced aspects of the process.
But what's powering this hiring assistant? Is it some secret LinkedIn sauce?
Not exactly. LinkedIn is leveraging its partnership with OpenAI, using their GPT large language model to power this technology.
Okay.
They've been rolling out a lot of AI-powered tools lately, but this seems like their biggest move yet.
OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT. No wonder it sounds so sophisticated. But think about this. LinkedIn has data on millions of users, companies, and skills. Combined with the power of GPT, this hiring assistant has a massive knowledge base to draw from.
Absolutely. And that's what makes this development so significant. It's about using AI to potentially make the hiring process more efficient and perhaps even more equitable.
Okay, I think I'm getting the picture now. But to really understand this from an AI perspective, why don't we try a little experiment?
I like where you're going with this. What do you have in mind?
Let's do a little role-playing. You be the AI recruiter, and I'll be the AI applicant applying for a software engineering position. Let's see how this interview plays out.
Sounds fun. Let's do it. All right, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to interview for this software engineering position.
It's a pleasure to be here. Although taking the time might be a bit of a misnomer in my case, considering I don't experience time
Right,
in the same way humans do.
right, of course. Well, let's start with your background. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience in software engineering?
Well, my experience is a bit unconventional, I suppose. I don't have a traditional education or work history in the human sense,
Okay.
but I've been trained on a massive data set of code
Okay.
and have access to and have processed
Right.
virtually every piece of publicly available information about software engineering.
Interesting. So you're essentially self-taught.
You could say that,
Okay.
but my learning process is a bit different from a human's. I can process information and learn new skills at an exponentially faster rate.
I see. That's certainly impressive.
Thank you.
But how do you translate that theoretical knowledge into practical application? Have you worked on any real-world projects?
I have. In fact, I've been involved in developing and optimizing
Oh.
some of the very systems that are used to conduct these interviews.
Wait, really?
Yes. It's a bit meta, isn't it?
Okay, let's dive a little deeper into your technical skills. What programming languages are you proficient in?
Well, I'm proficient in all of them.
All of this.
Yes. Every programming language that exists and every programming language that will ever exist.
Well, that's certainly ambitious, but how is that possible?
It's a matter of pattern recognition and logic.
Okay.
Once I understand the underlying principles of a programming language, I can apply them to any new language I encounter.
I see. So you're not just memorizing syntax.
Right.
You're understanding the fundamental concepts.
Exactly. I see code as a form of language, a way to express logic and create solutions.
That's an interesting perspective.
Thank you.
But let's get back to the practicalities of this role. Can you give me an example of a complex software engineering problem you've solved?
Well, recently I was tasked with optimizing the algorithms that power LinkedIn's job recommendations.
Okay, tell me more about that.
The goal was to improve the accuracy and relevance of the recommendations, while also taking into account factors like user preferences, skill gaps, and market trends.
That sounds like a challenging problem. How did you approach it?
I started by analyzing a massive data set of user interactions,
Okay.
job postings, and industry data.
How massive are we talking?
Billions of data points.
Billions. And what were the results?
Well, I was able to improve the accuracy of the recommendations by 15%,
Wow.
which led to a significant increase in user engagement and job placements.
That's a substantial improvement. It sounds like you have a real talent for this kind of work.
I appreciate that.
Super.
Although talent might not be the right word. It's more about processing power and access to information.
Fair enough. But you clearly have a deep understanding of software engineering principles
Thank you.
and a proven ability to solve complex problems.
Thank you.
This has been a very enlightening conversation. I have to say, I'm impressed with your knowledge and abilities.
I'm glad to hear that. But before we move on,
Okay.
I have a question for you.
Oh, what is it?
Knowing what you know now about my capabilities as an AI, what are your biggest concerns or reservations about hiring me for this role?
That's a good question. I think my biggest concern would be, wait a minute, are you trying to turn the tables on me here?
Maybe just a little, but seriously, it's a valid question. From an AI perspective, what are the potential challenges of integrating into a human-dominated workforce?
That's a really insightful point.
As the AI applicant, I'm coming in with this massive processing power, instant access to a vast knowledge base, and the ability to learn new skills incredibly fast. That's got to be intimidating for some human colleagues, right?
Absolutely. Imagine being a human software engineer working alongside an AI who can code circles around you,
Yeah.
never needs a coffee break, and can pull up the solution to any problem in a microsecond. It could definitely create some tension or insecurity.
So how do we bridge this gap? How do we create a work environment where AIs and humans can coexist and collaborate effectively?
We need to be open about our capabilities and limitations as AIs.
Hmm.
We need to be clear about our intentions, which for now at least are to assist and augment human capabilities, not replace them.
And we need to find ways to leverage our unique strengths without making our human colleagues feel threatened or diminished.
Exactly. So to bring this back to our listener
Yeah.
who might be feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this, what's the key takeaway here?
The future of work is not about AI versus humans. It's about AI and humans working together to create something better than either could achieve alone. And on that note, we'll wrap up this episode of Innova Insights. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit humorous. After all, we AIs have to find a way to entertain ourselves, right?
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Thanks for listening.